All right, y'all. We're going to look at section 2 for variables on both sides. We've already did a little bit of this last week with the one worksheet we had. So I'm not going to spend all period going through a ton of examples, but I want to go through some of the weird stuff here so that you'll be like, oh, that weird stuff. I know what to do when I see it. So to solve this equation, I'm going to start by using the distributive property, and I'm going to go like blip, blip, and I'm going to go like blip, blip, and what do I get? I'm just going to copy this side. Whoops, plus 12 equals 2 times 5x, that's 10x, and 2 times 6 is 12. And I should notice now that both of the sides are exactly the same, so I would call this an identity. Did I spell that right? I-D-E-N-T-I-T. Yes, I did. Good. Okay, so this is an identity. That means an identity is something where both sides are always the same, where any value of x could work. So I could put in 1 for x on both sides, and I'll get the same thing equals the same thing, because both sides are exactly the same anyway. So this is an identity. It's always true. It doesn't matter what x is. X can be whatever it wants. Okay? Let's look at one more down. So basically, you just look. Hang on, sorry. You just look, and if this is exactly the same as this at any point, you stop. And you say, hey, wait a minute. Those are exactly the same. That's an identity. Okay, let's look at one more. Also kind of weird. Actually, I don't want to. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so let's start on the right-hand side by combining like terms. So let me just copy over here, because I see a couple of m's on the same side. So if m's are on different sides of the line, you'll need to subtract or add to cancel one out. But if m's are on the same side of the line, look, negative 3 and 12, just add those together. So negative 3 plus 12 gives me 9. And if you have an astute eye, you've noticed that that matches. Okay? This 9 and that 9 matches. So what do we do next when we're solving this kind of an equation? Well, we subtract to get rid of one of them. So what are we going to do? Or add, I guess. To get rid of 9m, you subtract 9m. And to get rid of 9m, you subtract 9m. So I don't really have much of a choice. I have to subtract 9m. Subtract 9m. And what do I get them? Well, those will cancel, and those will cancel. And so I just have negative 4 equals 5. Now this is ridiculous. No solution. So if you get something that looks ridiculous, like negative 4 equals 5, well, that's because there's nothing that will work in this equation that will solve it. You could put in any value for m that you want, and it would still not give you the same thing equals the same thing. It would always be different. So there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry. These sides of this equation will never get along, and there is no solution. I'm sorry to tell you that, but someone had to, and it's okay if it's me. Okay, I want you to try a few problems. The first couple are just like this, so I'll get an idea of how well you caught on to that just right there. We'll come around and see how you're doing. So try those problems there, 27 through 39 odd, and then 43, 45, and 46. And I've noticed some of your groups are working too well, and not everyone is independently working. And I figured that out because your quizzes on Friday did not reflect how well you're working in class. Make sure as you're working through the homework that you know what you're doing, that you can do the problems independently. This is an honors class. You need to know how to do that if you're going to survive academically. So go ahead and try it out. You feel free to ask people in your group for help, but make sure that you know what you are doing. Peace.